without further ado, let's get into it, folks. Michael Chandler versus Dan Hooker. Now, the psychology behind it is this, right? It's simple, but it doesn't mean it's easy. But I just want to break this down. So when you're going into this is 3 rounds, right? This is 3 rounds. With Dan Hooker, you got to expect a war, right? That's his kind of fight. So you're going to expect a long 3-rounded war. Michael Chandler, he wants to put the pace on you early, right? He wants to take you down, push you against the fence, have his way with you, beat on you, and even just win on points if necessary, right? So check this out. The story of the fight is this. Dan Hooker is very responsive. And I believe it was Big John McCarthy who made this beautiful comment when Conor fought Khabib. And he said, when you are so in the mind of, okay, what's my opponent going to do? That it changes your game plan. That McGregor's output was thoroughly less than what it used to be when he fought Khabib. It just messes with you and it throws you off your game hardcore. That's exactly what we saw here tonight. What happened was Dan Hooker was so in the mindset of he's going to shoot, he's going to grab my leg, he's going to shoot, that he rarely threw any strikes. Because as you know, my friends, as soon as you throw a strike, whether it's a punch, right, whether you really sit on a straight or a hook, you're leaving yourself open. You're leaving yourself open for someone to shoot and penetrate, whether that's a high crotch, a single leg, double leg, it doesn't matter, right? You're creating openings, which you don't want. Not to mention leg kicks, right? You raise your leg, you're standing on one leg. For a grappler, like you're literally it's so easy for them to take you down, especially when they're a high-level wrestler like Chandler at Chandler's level. So basically what happens is for the whole fight, right, and this ends in the first round, what happens is Michael's just pushing forward. He's pushing forward, Dan's going back, he's pushing forward, and he just hits him with a jab. He just hits him with a jab. And as an audience member, you're thinking, okay, when's the takedown coming? When's the takedown coming? He's just setting up his takedown the whole time. That's what you have in mind, right? But then Michael starts landing, and he starts landing with his jabs, and he starts landing with his straights. And you see Hooker is always on the back foot. And if you're not a trained guy to counterpunch, if you're not a Conor McGregor or a Blessed Soul Anderson Silva or Israel Adesanya, hitting while going backwards is extremely tough. It's extremely brutal. You know, don't look at Jake Paul and how he knocked out Nate Robinson and be like, oh, I guess everyone could do it. Hitting while going backwards is something else, my friends. Anyways, Dan Hooker keeps going back. Michael Chandler keeps putting the pressure on him. Eventually, he puts him really close to the cage. He hits him with a 1-2 jab, hook. Dan Hooker bounces off the back of the octagon, comes forward again, and I believe it was a left hand by Chandler, puts Hooker down. He goes on top of him. Now here you could see the wrestler instincts. Michael Chandler immediately grabs onto him, puts him in a hold, but then he thinks to himself, you know what, I could probably finish this right here. After a second, he lets go, just starts wailing at him. Before the ref came in, called it, and Michael Chandler walked away as the winner. In his debut, I believe it'll go down as a TKO in the first round. So that was phenomenal. I think it really put him on the map. I believe he grabbed the mic and he said, who did he call out? He called out Dustin Poirier. He said, let's go. And he said, I believe it was Khabib. He said, yeah, man, Khabib, if you're still around, if you're still fighting, you know, I want to fight you. Both super exciting fights. So Michael Chandler, overall, this is what you have to know. A very high-level wrestler. He's 34 years old now, so he's not getting any younger. You would assume he's got about 5-6 years left. You know, and what you saw today was you're more than just a wrestler, which is extremely important. Because if you're a wrestler, right, and if, let's say, I'm a boxer at heart, if we're facing off, I'm always thinking about that takedown. And even you faking the takedown, for the rest of the fight, I'm thinking, okay, you know, I'm going to be careful. I'm going to be extra rooted. If he shifts his body weight down, I'm going to drop my hand so I can get ready to stuff any takedown, right? But the moment when I do that, you leave your face exposed. It's such a defensive mindset. Instead of thinking, and this is how I would sum up Dan Hooker's performance, which it sucks because Dan Hooker's an absolute savage, but I would say it was less about trying to win, and unfortunately it was about trying not to lose. It wasn't go out there, throw the output. He was always on the back foot. From the moment the bell rung to it ended. It was always going back, always trying to defend against the takedowns, and the takedowns never came. But simply that, the psychology of it, the mindset of I'm facing a wrestler, he's gonna shoot, everything he's doing is to set it up. You're always waiting, right? You're not fully investing in any of your shots, and he got clipped. You know, and it happens, and you know, hats off to Michael Chandler. He's definitely in the top 5 now, I would have to say. As for Mr. Dan Hooker, you know, I would still put him in the top 10. I would still put him in the top 10. But yeah, man, that division is absolutely stacked. Because who's in the top 5 right now, right? You could argue, well, Conor's in the top 5. Let's keep talking about it. We're not talking about the main event. You know, Dustin's in the top 5. Charles Oliveira's in the top 5. I could argue Justin Gaethje's in the top 5. And now you could argue Michael Chandler's in the top 5. So overall, very, very exciting stuff. And next time Michael Chandler's fighting, or honestly Dan Hooker's fighting, please tune in. Tune in. You will not be disappointed.